This is more in the nuts and bolts area of what's happening with data centers in Texas. And we have a letter that we want to send from this group to Dan Patrick, and he is president of the Texas Senate. And what we're asking them to do is to hold hearings on the Texas Commission environmental quality methods of how they go about permitting. What we found is they, with the power plants for the data centers, as an example, you will find the permitting process is very simple. There is none. But I think that's a problem. And we think the legislature has to look at it. That is because with TCEQ, they don't have any leeway. They take all of their direction from the legislature. So if the legislature doesn't tell them to do things, nothing's going to change. And this letter does cite one of the most egregious things that we know of. The air monitoring station in Midlothian, Texas. This has been down since April of 2022. That's monitoring our air that we breathe. And what we found is TCEQ relies very heavily on models. They don't seem to believe that much in actually testing the air. They're very, very reliant on models. And I'm going to close, because I know my time is brief here. I'm going to tell a monitoring story I witnessed during a public hearing regarding the Wolf Hollow 3 gas generating plant. This is where TCEQ did come and they met with the public, and they had their modeling expert talk to us, and there were about 150 of us there. And what he explained was, well, we have these monitors, and then we collect data from each of the monitors, and then that goes into our database, and that's how we determine, what's happening with emissions from this plant. Well, that all sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Well, then Danny Lakey stood up, and he said, hey, wait a minute. Looking at your map you put up, it looks like the monitors are between the fence line and the road, and there's no way you can actually fit a monitor on there. Where are these things going to be? That's when the modeler said, well, actually, these aren't physical monitors. These are points on our computer model. So that gives you some idea of how the whole process goes with TCEQ permitting. They do things that sound good, but guess what? It's really lacking. It's really, I find it a very questionable process. So asking for your signatures on this letter, let's go to Dan Patrick, and it's another way of getting our message to the legislature. And I'll have these over here for you to sign. Thank you.